Within the upload section, you'll have the ability to upload a document. You just click start uploading. You select whether it's an existing customer or a new customer. We'll say new, and then we can put the details for that person in here as well. I'm using the tax return for a made up customer, of course. We're not breaching any privacy, and the person's name is William Arago. So I'll fill in those details. And then you can click Browse Files to find the tax return that you're after. And we're after this individual tax return here. So we'll upload that. We'll select the year. So in this case, it's 2024. We specify the document type, which is an individual tax return. And then it will say, this is not the latest financial year, continues. Obviously, it's now the 25 tax return is the latest year. It's just prompting you to say that, making sure that you're uploading a tax return that's not going to be out of date. So we'll obviously continue, knowing that 2024 is okay, and then we click Analyze. And when it's analyzing, it's sending to our AI reader to extract all of the information pertinent to the loan application, and then it's going through a series of decision trees and conditional logic to be able to spit out some validated and verified data that you can use for your report. It will also send you an email once the document reading is complete. You don't have to stay on this page. You can leave this page and navigate elsewhere. If you'll go and upload more tax returns, they can all be running at the same time. Once it's finished analyzing, it will look for any data points that it thinks might not quite be correct. This could just be based on the AI not reading it confidently, or it could be that the particular figure doesn't quite match what would normally be in that field. For example, a letter where a number should be. So it's read it all correctly here, so we can confirm. And then if there's another one, for example, business address, we didn't have the address on this tax return that we've uploaded, so we can just go in and enter that now. Then we can click proceed. And now we're starting to get questions about the figures that it's actually extracted. Now, don't freak out. We've purposefully uploaded a tax return that will have a lot of fields completed so that there's a lot of questions raised. The important thing to keep in mind is that there's obviously tax returns are only telling half of the story. We do need to still collect some information from the accountant or the customer to be able to do a proper assessment. There's some things, for example, asking, do we need to use this income from servicing this income? And this ABN is linked to a company that William owns, and we'll do the company report in a separate tutorial, so we can proceed there. Then there's some other questions. We put litigation costs in there. As I said, this one is pretty rare, but it's an expense that we could say whether it's ongoing, what the type of expense is, and then more details. So we can say once off, for example. And we continue through the questionnaire. So there is a link to the ABR website here. To one day we would love to have this as an API, but in the meantime it's a pretty handy link here. You'll notice we've cheekily put the Australian Tax Office ABN in there, so you can actually get the details of when they registered here. So 1st of November 1999, and then this is registered from the 1st of July. It's also checking for super contributions just to make sure that if they've paid over the minimum, that we can add some of that back, so we can say that were they paid, and then would Willem be able to stop the super contributions if required, and that's to help us with our research as well. As we know, some lenders will ask us to say that. So we can say, was this paid solely from the sole trader business or from the sale of an asset? The name of the sole trader business. One of the questions is in relation to depreciation expenses and just double checking that there's no instant asset write-off. For those that don't know, some lenders will either not use instant asset write-off, or they'll put it into non-recurring expenses, which will be taxable profit, and others are fine if you just want to put the entire amount into the depreciation section. So if you have a look at the depreciation schedule, one way to find out, sometimes it will actually say instant asset write-off. Sometimes it will just say that the write-off is for the 100% of the value. It's just important that you're declaring the right amount. So in this case, just for example purposes, we'll say 1,000. We found in our research that some accountants will actually put depreciation within the motor vehicle expenses. It may seem insignificant, but it can make a big difference to the overall application. And sometimes can make or break an application. So we're just going to put something in here, $1,000, and it's virtually never going to be instant asset, so you can use the entire amount in a lot of cases. And the rest is just confirming a few other details. This is another good question. It's linked William's home address with his business address, and some people will claim a home office rental expense in their tax return, and there's a lot of lenders that can actually add that back. So we've prompted the question to say, is any of it being used? And then how much of that is being used? If you try to put in too much, it will flag you to say that that's more than what they've actually claimed in their business. And you can see here the total rental expense is 5,000, so we can just put in a figure. Now, in a lot of cases, the accountant would need to write a letter to confirm that that is what the share of the home office rent is. Although there are some lenders that say we'll just take the stated rent, and as long as it's not explicit in the lender policy to say that you must use the lease amount, you can sometimes just state what the applicant's share is. And if that part of that share is being covered by the business, which is effectively double counting that, then you're just stating whatever the customer will pay. So do take caution when adding back or using stated income, but there's a bit of guidance here further along in the report section. We'll just say the interest for ongoing debt. And we put quite a few different things in here just to trigger a lot of the questions. And once you're done, you can finalize the questionnaire, and it will take you then through to the upload complete section.